Good evening and welcome to Karlstad, Sweden for the 2012 Gruyère European Curling Championships. We are here in the Lufsberg Leila Arena, and the game we will be covering is the 9th game in the men's round robin, and it will be Norway versus Sweden. Norway 6 wins. Norway 6 wins. Sweden 7. Both looking for a chance to get into that 1-2 playoff. See some of the spectators and the supporters in for this evening's games.
Line-up for the Norwegian team this evening is lead Håvard Pettersson, second Kristoffer SWE, third here Torgeir Nergård, and the skip Thomas Ursrud. Sweden's lineup at lead Viktor Kjell, second Fredrik Lindberg, at third we'll see Sebastian Kraup, and skip Niklas Edin. See the standings here. Sweden with 7 wins, 1 loss. Norway at 6-2. So if Sweden wins this match, they'll win the round robin, go through to the 1-2 page. If Norway wins, they'll also be through to the 1-2 page. But if they lose, it looks like they'll be in the 3-4.
Yeah, there are other games going on this evening. Hungary yet to get off the mark. They take on Scotland. Germany taking on France. Russia, Switzerland, and over on sheet E, it's the Czech Republic taking on Denmark. So, to get things underway, Sweden managed to draw the button. Niklas Edin just getting a piece of the 1 foot. Thomas only making 4 foot. So expect quite an interesting matchup. These teams have got quite a bit of history.
Yeah, certainly one of the games I've been waiting for this week. They play each other quite often and know each other quite well. All good friends, but on the ice you'll see some fierce competition. Niklas Edin and his team has actually been to Oslo on a number of occasions for practice, and Ulstrud's home rink, Snarøya. There's lead Håvard Pettersson.
Sweeper's just dragging that one into the 8 foot, and doesn't get the full bury. So Viktor Kjell, lead for Sweden, will be able to probably play the takeout. Viktor and all of the Swedish team that are here are full-time curlers. So don't expect to see too many mistakes from these guys.
Well, Sweden didn't have the best of games against Denmark yesterday, and Norway lost to France this morning. So they're a bit up and down in performance. But you'd expect these two teams to be on top form here. And they usually play their best when they play each other. Last year you saw Norway beat this very team in the final of the European Championships in Moscow. As we just take a quick look at the rules of play here, 6 ends minimum in the round robin stages. 73 minutes per team, and you're allowed one coach interaction, meaning if you're in trouble you might bring on your coach for some advice. You might just see them as this game might be a tight one. We'll expect to see 10 ends of play here. Last year Norway lost out to Sweden 2 times at the Europeans, but as I mentioned, they did win in the final. Thomas Ilser drawing the forfeit for the win on that occasion. This time you'll see second player Chris just over curling a little bit, and he's going to roll out. And Sweden is going to make the intern draw around the corner guard. This is second player Fredrik Lindberg. So we're just waiting for this one to settle down. Good wait, just didn't have the line there. And does it seem like the ice is straightened up a little bit today? I think we've seen a lot of shots not curling up. Just maybe a bit straighter, not that big finish as we saw earlier this week.
Yeah, certainly earlier in the week there was a massive finish, a really big slide as the stones came to a halt. Seems to have straightened up ever so slightly.
Well, this is something you see when stones are being played so much. There's so many games, and there's practices, evening practices. Just the running band of the stones just kind of gets smoothened over a little bit. So it's very common to see that. Not necessarily the ice is straightening out, but maybe the stones are losing a bit of aggressiveness.
So Sebastian, or Sebi as he's known to his teammates, Crow. Just looking for a draw in behind the guard.
Just hanging out there now. Again, just looking for the curl, can't seem to find it.
Yeah, I watched Sweden take on Scotland this morning, and they weren't really in the game, but they managed to steal one in the extra and pick up the win. So tactically they call a pretty good game. They don't make many mistakes.
They're not necessarily the most aggressive teams, but I just feel that when they play each other, there's almost an agreement of putting stones in play. I've seen so many interesting ends between these two teams, but it's all down to if they make the shots or not. Obviously, when lead player Pettersson couldn't quite make that come around, you'll see a hit from Nicholas. So it will depend on the shots made. So there's an open stone to play a hit on here for Sweden. Next to hit and roll, just kind of roll a bit too far maybe. That's still a good shot there, him behind cover, lying shot.
Yeah, so Norway probably going to have to play the straight back. Are you a fan of the straight back or the come around the guard?
I think well, run back's probably the better result. Well, you'll remove the yellow, and it's going to be hard for Sweden to score with it, obviously, if you remove it. But seems to be some discussion going on here. Just, not all the team members of Norway agreeing on the shot called.
Yes, I liked him to play the draw. I'm a little surprised about this early on. I think they might have played the straight back.
I don't know, sometimes it's just maybe down to whatever you feel most comfortable with. Maybe just feeling that the draw is a higher percentage shot at this time. But looking wide though. Needs to work it to get the extra curl at the end, try and hide it. Looks to be fully covered, but it's quite deep. So that was just lead player Håvard Pettersson telling the Swedes that he probably touched the stone at the end there, made it stop a bit early. Let's see if we can see it happening. Right at the end, I think. I don't know. Didn't look to stop any earlier.
That's a good thing to see in the game, though, the honesty of the players.
So it looked like Nicholas just tapped that stone back a fraction. I think technically Nicholas could ask to get that stone removed, but it's all about fair play really, and didn't really matter that much. So Nicholas with a big shot here to start off the game. Angled run to sit two.
Yeah, taking the yellow purely because it's his own he's firing in, and he can do that. A lot of teams would generally take the middle one straight back, but took the high yellow one, so it was his own that he was driving back, and may have stuck two yellows in the house.
Yeah, just slightly narrow. Does spill his own. Sits one, and I think Norway is looking to come through the gap between the two reds and remove that stone just played by Nicholas Edin.
It's been a good force for Norway in the first.
Sounds pretty close here. That's a very nice shot by the Norwegian skip.
I think we'll just see Nicholas Edin just play the draw rather than the takeout.
So I've seen Nicholas Edin struggle a bit with his draw weight on occasions. He was really really on form for most of the week, but then we saw that game against Denmark. He was pulling up short on a couple of shots. It's kind of hard to tell why, but I'm pretty confident that he'll be able to make this one. It's good to start off the game with a good draw here.
Yeah, started the game off with a great angle takeout. And sweepers just keeping this one moving. Have they done enough? I think they have. And drops that right on top of the 1 foot. And Sweden lead 1-0.
Yeah, some people in today to watch the Swedes play.
Yeah, there's a bit of a Scandinavian grudge match.
Yeah, Norway and Sweden, we really compete at everything, really. Comes to cross-country skiing, football, whatever, really. Curling is probably one of the sports where teams are, as evenly matched as possible. You see these teams will beat each other almost well, every year they'll beat each other.
So we see some of the Turkish women's team. They're playing in the B division. They're yet to make their first appearance in the A League.
Yeah, I was just down in Turkey in April for the World Mixed Doubles. Huge nice rink in Erzurum. And curling has certainly caught on in Turkey, so it's nice to see new nations embrace the game.
So Norway throw up the corner guard. Sweden will be keen to win this because they need to win this to get them into that 1-2 playoff, and they would also get last stone advantage if they manage to be clear at the top of the standings following the round robin. So, Havard Van Petersen getting to play a takeout, something you don't see very often. Does make the takeout and rolls to the open side.
Yeah, again, it's just going to be a bit of an open end as the lead's not just being able to come around the centre guard fully.
So, mistake from Fredrik Lindberg, and I'm sure Ulswood will be straight around the guard.
Just hear the amount of communication between the Norwegians. Really focused for this game, and it's an important game. If they win, we're in the 1-2 page. If they're not, it looks like they're in the 3-4. Such a big advantage being in the 1-2 page. You get that second chance, and if you only have to win one game to get to the final.
Yeah, great shot from Fredrik. Tidies things up, drives the guard back. So accurate, the Swedish team at the big weight takeouts. So this one looking a little heavy maybe, but just dropping onto the tee line. Yeah, I think they'll come around at this time rather than drive it back. Sweepers are really going to have to work this one hard. It's really cutting away. And trying to spin something in. Don't manage it though. So I might be tempted to come the other way at this, Sander, on the in turn. If you come this way, you show a little half, you might leave an easy double and roll.
Well, skipper's calling the line a bit tight. Well, maybe not. She's probably overswept this one. Sweeper's just working it a bit too much.
Yeah, this is why I didn't really like that call, Sander. You've got a double either way. If it pulls up short to the tee, it's maybe you come round at barrier weight, bump it and roll across, or like this one, you can hit and roll across and on top in front of it. So maybe something the coach will look at in the post-game debrief.
This is coach Ole Ingvaldsen. Wasn't too happy with their performance against France this morning, so looking for a win from the boys today against Sweden.
Går helt rett altså på der og der. Jeg lurer på om det ser ikke, du setter den på litt bare, men det kjennes egentlig ganske bra ut altså. Jeg tror du skal køle litt der da. De må koste på, så det er sikkert. 11. 10.
This would be Swedish coach Eva Lund. Sitting next to Ole up there on the coach bench. These are the two coaches that will come out if there's a timeout called.
And Supers trying to hold this one. Is he going to drop over the top? I think he might have rolled too far. So they will look for a freeze right on the button with this one, I think.
Yeah, it's just looking to get to the top of the 1 foot here. It's not maybe all the way frozen on their own. Just as they're saying, want to stop maybe a half stone before they're on red.
And line looks really, really good. It's all down to the weight. Just not enough. You see how straight that was as well. Didn't really finish like we've been seeing. So we see Howard Van Petersen on the left and Christopher SWE on the right, really powering this one down into the 4 foot, but couldn't do enough, and it pulled up short.
Han måste ju gå med ganska lös fart för att täppa den utan att täppa sin bakre, så det är bara att lägga en corner. Garda in den var ju rätt, men det är jävligt svårt på 2. Vill du spela han så här då? Nej. Nej. Lite tror jag så långt ut eller? Nej, inte riktigt. Okej.
So I think they've called the guard just to try and make it difficult for Thomas Olsrud in Norway to pick up more than one shot. You see, covers enough of the outside red. So looking to run this one back. Christopher thinking the outside. Yellow, I mean that's certainly for 3. But you do run the risk of possibly collecting your own. I don't know if I'd be going for this one. I think if you go for this, you play one of the middle ones back at sort of control weight, no?
Not sure how you're giving up one here when they're playing this shot. What were you thinking, Kenny?
I'm thinking you just drive one of them back in the middle. This is really, really tight. I mean, you're looking to catch maybe an inch, if not a little more, an inch to an inch and a half. So final stone for Thomas Oldroyd. He does sit one. He's not throwing big weight. And I don't think this is going to pull enough. And he's going to slide right past. And it will just be a single for Norway. The game now tied at 1 each.
Håvard, husk på, jeg køller ikke som Torger og Sebbe der ute. Jeg køller normalt. Jeg vil ikke legge ut den igjen, Håvard.
Just Skip Thomas enjoying some good banter. Just telling his lead player Håvard that he doesn't curl quite as much out there as his lead and Sebastian on the Swedish team does.
Yeah, so that's what they're playing for. A chance to lift the European title. Sweden this time with last stone. It's hard to believe that this team of Nicholas Edin is still so young. They've got a bright future in front of them. Already been to 1 Olympic Games. How many more will we see this team at?
Well, they play so much. You're going to think it's going to take a toll on their bodies. I mean, do get injuries in curling as well. Just got to make sure to stay fit, and I think that's something both these teams spend a lot of time at, just trying to stay fit, go to the gym, physios, etc. Just trying to stay in shape. Curling's not really good on the knees. Shoulders is often a big problem because of the sweeping. So you won't see too many broken legs, but you'll certainly see some damage.
So also there's other games going on in the arena. Russia, Switzerland. Russia with the chance to pick up 5. Drozdov for Russia. Already sitting 3. Must be pretty close. And hits the back one, rolls out, and it will be a massive 4. So Russia coming up from the B division last year, going strong. They lead by 4 shots to 0 after 2 ends. So, back to the action. Oh, and they get so close to the guard.
A bit of an audacious line call by Nicholas Edin.
Jeg tror vi ruller ut nesten uansett da. Ja, da ruller vi kanskje hit. Kanskje lettere bare ta den med en elver. Ja, han skulle spille. Ja, på innom. Ja, så ruller vi på også. Vanlig! Solid vanlig! Vi må gå hardere. Ok. Jeg må spille på prøve å bare treffe da, imellom det.
Probably just come at this at controlled takeout weight.
Yeah. Just hear them say they're going to play it a bit more. Depending on what you consider controlled. Obviously they can help the line by sweeping, playing this weight here. That's a great shot by second. We're just going to pop over to the game between Germany and France. Fourth player and skip, Thomas Dufour, with the last one of the second end. Maybe looking to blank the end there. Picks up one, so it's going to trail Germany by 1 point after they took two in the first. And back in our game, we see a couple of guards in play here. And now, just saw the Norwegians swapping stones. Obviously, they have a good call on how the stones move. Some stones tend to curl a bit more than others, and so on. So just sometimes when they want to play the draw, come around, they'll choose a stone that might curl a bit more.
And Sweeper's having a go really hard. Look at his sideways cut on that.
Yeah, they picked the cutting stone to play the draw, just cut too much on them.
Han trenger nok å vite at du spiller en køllestein. Jeg tror jeg kan fikse det. Jeg vet ikke om det er kølle, men jeg bare synes det var 24 den som var på kanten der i første omgang. Ja, jeg tar på den. 05. Inte lika pålagt. Försiktigt. Farten är bra. Kan vara långt. Upp Peder. Köra. Farten är bra. Bara fart. Bara fart. Sitt.
I think that's it's quite universal, that language. Just wanted it to pull up and sit down.
Yeah. It's more or less the same word in both Norwegian, Swedish and English. Sit down.
So when they're playing these games, Sanders, how do the two teams communicate? They communicate in Swedish, Norwegian, English, or?
Obviously the Norwegians would communicate in Norwegian and the Swedes would communicate in Swedish.
What, to each other on the ice?
Would they talk?
Yeah.
No, Norwegians and Swedish people understand each other quite well. You might see the Norwegians talk a bit of Swedish just to make it a bit easier. But we understand the Swedes. And they understand us. It's just the Danes we don't get.
It's a good chance for Sweden to get another one in. They know the line.
Look at this.
Oh, superb stone.
Yeah, just it's giving me chills right now. It's just so much energy on the ice, and have a bit of a crowd now as well. So just
yeah, it's the busiest we've seen the arena so far this week.
Yeah, it's a good thing the Swedes are in the playoffs stages. You might see a couple more people coming in for the Swedish games rather than, let's say, Norway, Germany game. So after Russia scoring 4 in the second end, Switzerland looks to score a couple back. It's Sven Michel. Swiss skip throwing his last stone of the third end. Looking pretty calm. Looks like that yellow to the left of our screen is just nibbling on the rings. And it's pretty easy draw to score 2 here. Sven hasn't really looked his happiest on the ice this week. Just struggling a little bit, but does have a chance to make the tiebreakers with a win here over the Russians, I think.
Yeah, he would need to win and hope Denmark, Norway. Well, no, actually, he would have to win, and he would be guaranteed a playoff between the losers of Czech Republic and Denmark. Should Norway also lose that one, it would be a 4-way tie for 3 spots.
Yeah, I think Norway will go through because they've beaten all those teams, or at least 2 of those teams. It's kind of complicated, but we'll know after the draw is finished. Too many scenarios. Well, back to our game. It's Sweden lying 2 here, and the forfeit with some good cover. So this is the type of end I've expected to see. Just many stones in play, high risk, good fun. Let's play a Lindholm, Swedish team leader, national coach, national coach, I believe would be the right term. Seem to be agreeing with the call made by Sweden. I think that call was to come to the top of the forfeit. So taking a bit of ice here all the way to the edge of the house. So drawing here to line 3. Oh, that's a pretty good shot by Nicholas Edin.
Yeah, Sweden looking really strong in this third end. Odds really stacked up against Norway now. No real angle in either, is there? There's no real easy shot.
It's almost as you just have to pick off a 1 yellow. Don't want to give up 4 here, that's for sure. But again, giving up 3 isn't much better. But looks like he's just going to pick off 1 yellow here, give away a possible 3. Not looking too happy with the situation. It's not really what you want to be faced with.
Looking at that, I might just be tempted to play the barrier weight, drive the red that's in the top of the 8 foot, shave the guard back on it. It's dangerous.
Well, this is probably the easier shot. Norway looking to remove 1 yellow. Pretty close to that top red, but does the job. Does leave Nicholas the draw for 3, however.
There you see, that's a little bit tighter than they would have liked to have got to the guard.
Are you surprised that Nicholas has thrown the out turn and not the same way through his first one?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, but maybe just more comfortable with this.
They might have some backing as well. It's 2 on yellows and a forfeit. So even with him coming up a bit tight here, they can just sweep it to hold the line and crash on their own yellows. Doesn't look to be the case here though. Just waiting for the curl. Seems to be in control of it. And comes down onto his own yellows. That's going to spark the crowd in here in the Löfberg Lila Arena in Karlstad, Sweden.
So what Norway will do now is probably try and force a 2. Force Nicholas Edin to take 1 and get another 2 back. And then they'd be back on level terms. But Norway are going to have to take a few risks now. And they can't afford to fall any more behind. So, update elsewhere. Hungary taking on Scotland. All tied at 1 each over in Sheet A. Germany leading France 3-1. Russia 4-2 up on Switzerland. And the game between Czech Republic and Denmark is all tied at 2 each.
76% for Håvard Pettersson through this week. It's not really the numbers you're used to seeing from the lead.
Yeah, usually a lot higher, like the high 80s anyway.
Yeah, I remember him being all-star lead in the World Championships maybe 3 years ago. Scoring in at like 91% or so. Usually don't trust the percentages, but you know, through a whole week you'd expect that to reflect somehow. So maybe not playing up to scratch this week. Just gonna pass the guard. Doesn't quite make it. Didn't sound like Håvard was too happy with the sweeping performance there. As we see all the Germans, Andreas Schupp and our team, sitting down with Ole Kapp, enjoying the games. Didn't have the greatest of week, Andreas Schupp, but made her 500th appearance on the international curling scene. Quite the record. Now, only Swedish stones in play so far in this fourth end. Kristoffer Sva's numbers looking pretty good at 83%. That's a good shot there. Again. Did see him rotating with alternate player Thomas Löwel last year in Moscow and for the World Championships in Basel. So maybe just upped his game a little bit to fence off the competition of his fifth man.
Yeah, is that something you're in favour of, Sander, the squad rotation, changing the lineup?
Yeah, don't really like the squad rotation. Just I think it kind of throws off the team.
Yeah, I'm going to fully agree with you there, Sander.
Might just cause some friction really between the team members, feeling like you're competing against each other rather than backing each other up as a team.
Yeah, you completely. Yeah, there might be a few issues sort of brought to the table if you're a five-man squad rather than just the normal four.
I don't mind bringing an alternate to the championships. It's nice to have backup because you know, you get people that are sick, and it has happened this week. Seeing a lot of players caught the flu, the bug. But I think it's best to bring an alternate player, and that player knowing he's the alternate then will only come on if a player is sick, and just do their job. It would be maybe matching stones, just helping out with the broom bag and offering snacks and refreshments in the halftime break of the games. I mean,
yeah, it's quite a big responsibility being a fifth man at the championships. You've got to be in here late on at night, throwing stones in the practice. These teams will get a chance to throw every set of stones before they play with them, so they know how much they're going to curl, what speed they are. So it's a big responsibility for the fifth man, and he really is a member of the team.
Now, this would be Sebastian Krupp's numbers, 78%. Probably would have liked to crack the number 80, but seems to have a good week. Nonetheless, this time can't quite get rid of the red one. Does spill one of the yellows as well, so might be a chance for Norway to score two here. That would be Sebastian just looking at the Jumbotron. Sometimes you might see the teams use that big screen in the arena to take a look at the angles.
Yeah, it's pretty handy to have that in a big arena.
76% for third player Torgeir Negård. Again, not the biggest numbers we're seeing. Not sure why that is. It might be the difficult ice conditions earlier this week.
So we're going to cut to Czech Republic against Denmark. Czech leading 2-1.
This be a must-win game for both sides, Kenny?
Yes, I mean it guarantees the spot in the playoffs without going into the playoffs, into the page system anyway. And just overthrew that one a little, maybe.
Yeah, going to be a score of 1 for Denmark. All tied after 3 ends, 2 each.
Mista handel. Var den som kørte som et brakk over i stad? Steinar. Ja. Jeg tror det kørte ok mye inn her da. Ja, jeg tror jeg mistet håndhandel. Jeg tror jeg satt på en del, altså. Fikk man TV-vanskelig? Ja, bra.
So I think Nicholas Edin will have a good view of the Norwegian rock in behind this guard.
Doesn't look to have much more than half, maybe, but certainly should be able to come around the guard. 86% for Nicholas Edin. He's probably been the best player this week. Only had about that one bad game against Denmark, I believe. Before that game, he was at 92%, I think. So it's playing great, making another very good shot here. So before Norway plays their first skip stone, we'll see what's going on between Russia and Switzerland. It's the Russians with the last one of the fourth end. Let's see how many points they can generate here. Already leading by 2. That's a pretty safe draw for 2, it seems. And Russia leads the game 6 shots to 2. I don't think Russia will be able to make it to the playoffs, but they've certainly earned their spot at the World Championships. First stone for Thomas Ulsrud. Yeah, not even close there. Couldn't get the line or the weight. Sweden lying too. No risk for Nicholas Edin here to just come around the top red.
Visa halva från 4 är okej också. Nästan går man inte kan täpa eller vid runt det. Ja. Det är fan ingen roligt. Och inte kalla upp
You see the green light just indicating the stone was released before the red hog line. And a lot of rotation on this one. But sits on the top of the button, and all Thomas Olsrud can do is play the tap back for the single point. Not what he would like to be doing.
Working this one really hard for Lang, cannot afford to wreck on the top stone here, needs to get past it. So close to wrecking on that top red. That could be could have been the end of the game there. And I think his heart just skipped a beat.
Jeg beklager, det rett og slett bare jævlig dårlig lead. Det første dragningen, og det jo natta, vet du. Satte du kvar den lite lik igjen? Sa du? Satte du kvar den lite lik igjen? Nei, ikke rart. Jeg trodde definitivt du skulle ha en halv fot til. Ja, for vi... Mindre enn 4 fot. Ja, for...
So we are live here at the Gruyère European Curling Championships 2012 in Karlstad, Sweden. Game between Norway and Sweden. You see Sweden leading 4-2.
Just saw the umpire put a score of 2 up on the scoreboard for Norway. Nicholas Edin over to tell him to change it. So, just the Norwegians look like a big balloon bursting with energy. But then Nicholas Edin just coming by and popping that balloon with a needle.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to pop Christopher SWE. That would be quite a fair mess. Not that Norway are in any way out of shape, but I think maybe last year or a couple of years before they were certainly a lot fitter, maybe in the run up to Olympics. Do you think that's a fair comment, Sander?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that would maybe go for every team out here. You know, that season or that year just before the Olympics, you're really going to put in a lot of effort. But I do know these guys quite well, and I know they spend a lot of time in the gym. But, you know, it's easy to be tired as well after a long week like this. You've been playing almost 2 games every day. It takes a toll on you. A couple of good centre guards from lead player Håvard Pettersson. And Sweden isn't going to put on the defensive gear too much, putting up a corner guard, so we might see some stones in play even in this end.
That's a great shot.
We're going to take a look at sheet A. Scotland playing Hungary. It's Tom Brewster and the last one of the 4th end.
Yeah, Scotland with their more familiar lineup and looking more like a unit and trying to bump this one back, and no problem at all, and they will pick up 2 and now lead 3-1.
So a big scrub here on our sheet, looking to keep the angles in their favour. Doesn't quite manage that, but does put that yellow in a useful spot. Sweden with a 2-point lead and the last stone. Would you expect them to maybe play a bit more defensively against other opponents?
Certainly think so. I think although they respect Norway, they know that they'll maybe get a few mistakes. So maybe they're not going as defensive as they would expect. And the game between Germany and France. Germany leading 3-1, but Thomas Dufour looks like he has a draw for 2 to tie the game. And this one is going to pull up in time. So it is 2. That game tied over on sheet B. So back to Norway, Sweden. Norway trying to get a foothold in this end, and they will sit shot. And now Nicholas Edin deciding it's time for Sebastian Kraut to throw the high hard one and just catch the inside on this red and try and spray a few things around and move things in the 4-foot.
Oh, what a great shot by Sebastian Krupp. Doesn't quite get that last thread to spilt, but did open things up a little bit. Russia leading this game against Switzerland 6 shots to 2. Sven Michael, as I mentioned, just not looking his happiest. Hasn't had the greatest of weeks. And now have to play this draw against 2. Really needs to win this game to be in the playoffs. Does make this draw, but it's going to trail Russia by 3. It's going to be quite hard for them to pull back, I think, but still 5 minutes to go. Might be a tiebreaker spot for the Swiss yet. Now, Norway lying 4 here against Sweden. How many red stones do you think Sebastian Krupp will be able to remove here?
I just think the 2 and hold the shooter. I think that's what they'll try and do.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. Not playing major weight. Doesn't quite make that, but does outcount those 2 other reds to the right of the house, so not too bad there.
Yeah, so Norway will try and sit 2, draw on the in-turn, and swing in behind the 2 guards to the right. And there's Gaspari and the Italian team, who had a great win against Lena Nielsen this afternoon. Drew the pot lid with their final stone.
Ja, 6 er bra. Kjøle hvis vi kan. Må gå på linje. Linje er forbi. Hold i gang. Linje er bra. T-line. Ja, gjerne. Byte 4 fot. Her er bra, tror jeg. Her er beste. Her er beste.
So the swing just beginning to come off the ice now. And that one just a little bit straight. So going by the ice, it looks probably a back ring to hack weight.
Yeah, the hack weight is called here by the Swedes. Look at that, some great pictures here from our cameraman. Quite the colourful sport, really. Curling is nice with the red and blue rings. It's just nice visual. Oh, what a shot.
I actually think he shaved the guard with that one. He's disappointed he didn't get the roll.
Not sure quite if he shaved the guard. Looks like we're going to have a look.
Oh, didn't.
That's so close.
Paper thin.
Yeah, I would say with that set of other sweepers there, you wouldn't make it. Just,
yeah, that's a real strength of the Swedish side. The 2 sweepers they have in Fredrik Lindberg and Victor Schall. They do put a really hard shift in.
Well, speaking of colour, Kenny, we haven't really mentioned the trousers of the Norwegian team.
No, we haven't mentioned them this week, purely because everybody's used to them now.
Yeah, it's kind of a big thing at the Olympics. Still has about 560,000 fans on Facebook. One of those pages for the pants. Just does have about, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 different trousers now. Last stone. Well, the fifth end here for Niklas Edin.
Yeah, trying to take the single, no problem at all. So the game now 5-2 in Sweden's favour. Teams will take a short break, something that they don't usually get throughout the season. It's usually 8 end games to play, so they will just need time just to relax, talk with a coach, discuss how the game is going.
Yeah, don't get too much time off when you play weekend tournaments. Myself played 4 games straight just a couple of weeks back. Well, there was one session in between, I think about 3 straight games, then 2 hours off, then one more game. It's pretty tiring, actually, especially when you had 2 games the day before, and then you might be in the playoffs the next day. Let's take a look at the highlights here. First end, Niklas Edin with the last stone, looking to score 1, facing a couple of Norwegian stones. It's Victor and Fredrik, then later joined by Sebastian, that can bring this one down to the top of the 1 foot for a score of 1. Norway was first to 1 in the second end. Niklas Edin with the last stone in the third end, being able to draw for 3 after a very well played end by the Swedes. And they get the 3-point lead. Norway tried to come back and score a 2, couldn't quite do that. Thomas Ulsrud with his last stone of the fourth end, just looking for the nose hit. Came way too tight to that top red, just barely makes it. Scores 1, and as we just saw, Sweden picked up another single in the fifth, making this a 5-shots-to-2 lead for Sweden. We'll take another look at the game between Scotland and Hungary. It's Georgi Nyagi at the head with the broom. Christian Hall playing the last stone at the fifth end. Looking for a double takeout here. Doesn't quite make it, but it's enough to score 1. And it's going to be 3-shots-to-2 lead for Scotland after 5 ends of play. Germany is playing France. It's all tied up after 4 ends. Andreas Lang, also just called Andy, is throwing the last stone of the fifth end for the Germans. Looking to score 3, I believe. Lying 2 at the moment, but just waiting for the finish on this one. Daniel Herberg at the head. It's Marcus Messensel and Andreas Kempf bringing this one in to the 4 foot. 6-shots-to-3 lead for the Germans after 5 ends. So we just took a look at most of the games here, but Russia also leading 6-shots-to-3 of Switzerland. A pretty tight game between Yuri Snitzel and Rasmus Stjernet as the Czechs play the Danes. So this is how the game, how the guys spend their halftime break. protein bar, some water, sports drinks, a wee chat, maybe just discussing the stones, the ice, and everything between. Maybe have a wee chuckle. What's a normal procedure for a half-time break for you, Kenny?
Yeah, certainly. It was just about telling the team, really, look guys, have we picked up on any stones that are not curling as much, or a little bit faster, a little bit slower? The coaches will probably have the stats like we've got here in front of us. Maybe just say, look, your hit percentages or your draw percentages. But if you look at the hit percentage for Norway, down at 66%, that's a little bit concerning. And I think Ole, the coach, will.
Don't think they've played too many hits, though. As you see, the average percentage being 77, but certainly can pick up on those draws a little bit. Especially since they're trailing by 3, they need to put the stones in the right places. And you might see the Norwegians play a lot of draws here to get back in the game. Victor at 86% through 5 ends. Good game for him. That's the numbers you expect to see. Over the last 3 or 4 years, maybe, you've seen Victor turn out to be one of maybe the world's top leads. This time, maybe not displaying that. Slip into the back of the 4. Håvard van Pettersson was probably considered one of the very best leads in the world a couple of years back. Not sure if that's the case now. He's obviously one of the very best, but it was just such on form 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, he's obviously moved away from the rest of his teammates, so whether he's maybe just not putting the same practice in as he did before.
I think he's putting the same practice in, but different things. Doing your practice alone, and he's in another rink that doesn't curl quite as much. I don't think the conditions are as good as back home in Oslo. So certainly that's a thing, and you know, newly married, starting up a business, there's a lot of life changes that might just interrupt your curling a little bit. And this is something I think we saw from the whole Norwegian team last year, just struggling a little bit through the season. A lot of team changes, life changes for the team, I mean. But 86% now for this guy here. But now I think this stone might have picked up some debris. He's going to slow down big time. Maybe not. So Thomas Ulsrud certainly enjoying that. Looked to be a pickup, but couldn't hear the word pluk being uttered, which is the Norwegian word for pickup. So maybe just an error on the lead's part. So no guards in play now. So maybe Sweden's switched on the defensive gear a little bit. 82% for Chris. Just 1% behind his average of 83 this week. He's certainly Mr. Curling back home in Norway. Spent some time in the rink. He's sort of a daily manager at the rink in Oslo, doing curling instructions, and has teamed up with skip Thomas Ulsrud. They are just doing corporate gigs with with a couple of stories and showing off the silver medal from the Olympics and so on.
So what you're saying is they're a bit of a double act?
Yeah, you could say so, if you want. 84% for Fredrik Lindberg, also playing quite well. He's also a man that I've seen quite a bit up and down in the last year or two, and I think his best championship back in 2009 for the European Championship in Aberdeen, when they won the gold. He was absolutely on fire, making everything, playing more than 90% almost every game. So what's what makes a player play at his very, very best, let's say 1 year, and then maybe not performing as well the next year? Is it much of a mental problem, or?
I think it's probably not mental. It's probably the drive, the push for the Olympics. It's all to do with funding, and it's to do with home life as well. You know, it's getting that curling work stroke life balance. With these guys, both these teams are pretty much full-time curlers, so there isn't much time for work. Work is curling, so it's just a life curling balance.
Yeah, I remember I asked David Murdoch from Scotland, it's going to be 3 years ago now, just when he first became a full-time curler. I asked him if he was going to get tired of it, being a full-time curler, if it was going to be too much. And he told me that, well, that's one way to look at it, but another way to look at it is I get paid to do what I love. So, you know, it's I sometimes get sick of curling myself, but it's turning out to be a game you play all season, even in summer. So 70% for third player Torgeir Nergård. Makes a good shot here.
Russia-Switzerland 6-3. Russia lead. Switzerland sitting 2. Andrei Drozdov trying the hit and stick for the single. And Swoopers are off this one. Is it going to curl enough? And they just squeeze the yellow out and extend their lead to 4. They lead 7-3 now on Sheet C. Sheet D, though, it's Norway, Sweden. And I was just going to say, why not draw round in behind this one rather than play the hit?
Well, you've that's exactly what third player Torgeir Nergård told Thomas now. It's he'll probably get a better chance of blanking the end if you come around the top yellow now. And it seems like he's gotten his wish. Maybe his birthday wish. That's his birthday today, actually, 12th of December. He's turning 38, I believe, today. Lost against France this morning, so I think a nice birthday present would be a win against Sweden here and a spot in the 1-2 page. Wasn't feeling too well yesterday. You actually saw him skipping the team while Thomas Ulsrud was sweeping. But felt better this morning. Didn't hear that fifth man, Thomas Lövel, came in last night and was maybe going to play the game this morning, but we didn't see him do that. These are Couple of the other Swedish curlers. That's Christian Lindström in the middle there. Coach for Team Spain in the B group, but also a very good curler himself. 86% for Nicholas Edin. Those numbers are going to improve after that shot. And Norway still looking to score 2. It's going to draw it around the top yellow. Haven't really been able to hide the stones too well in this game. So maybe just want to play this very close to T-line weight and let the stone curl. Obviously, if you have to sweep it for a lot, you're going to straighten out the path. So maybe just throw it pretty close to T-line weight and just let it settle down and catch some curl here. Maybe just work it at the end. 70% for the skip. Isn't really what you want to see from him. Again, there's been some tough shots to make. So it certainly has the weight here. So it's all about the line. Does come around the top yellow, but is it going to slip too far? Just going to cling on for a second shot, I believe. So I think we'll see Nicholas Edin just come on the out-hand side and remove the red stone.
Jeg kan se på det, så se hvordan det ligger om.
So Nicholas Edin trying to pick.
Oh, I thought that was by. Just ticks off the top yellow. That was really close.
He said that curled a hell of a lot in the last 2 feet. So maybe he just grabbed something out of it. I think he's still in a bit of a shock. But giving up a 2 is not a complete disaster. He still would lead by 1 with last stone.
No, it's just not fun when you feel like you're in total control of the end and the force is looking so good, and then you make that slight mistake at the end to give up 2. It's always a bit of a letdown. Now, Norway might be over-curling this shot. No. Swept that one hard to hold the line. And Norway scores 2. It's going to close up this game. Only the 1-point lead for Sweden now. And certainly for the neutral fan. It's good to see Norway score 2 here. It's just going to make this game a bit tighter.
I guess, Sander, you're not a neutral fan. You're obviously going to be supporting home nation of Norway. And good friends, Thomas Olsrud and the guys of yours, aren't they?
Oh, well, yeah. I spend a lot of time with them in the curling rink. Obviously, I almost see them every day. So there's no hiding the fact that I would like to see them pick up the trophy once more. It would be 3 times in a row for Norway. Only one person, or only one skip to do that ever before. Do you know who that is? Little curling quiz for you, Kenny.
I think possibly Hammy McMillan.
That's correct.
Yes.
Hammy won it back in, was it 94, 95, 95, 96? Or maybe 93, 94, 95. One of the 2. Won 3 times in a row. So could break the record, winning 4 times in a row if they win here next year. Well, this centre guard attempted by lead Håvard Vard Pettersson does slip into the rings. So just a couple of mistakes from him we're not used to seeing. Hog the stone in the previous end, now slipping into the rings on the centre guard. So just discussing the stones here. Maybe he's struggling a bit with 2 different stones. It's hard to tell, and it might just be playing with his mind a little bit. Usually you'll see teams give the worst stones to your lead. So even if shots are easy to make, you might be playing with a stone that's hard to play. And apparently there's plenty of meters difference in the weight of those 2 stones, so that might explain what's happening. Certainly would explain the mistakes made by Håvard Pettersson. Certainly when I see him miss a shot, I rarely think it's because he's made a mistake on his own. So often something else. Usually plays pretty well. But played 5 ends now, so should have figured that out by now, I think. And I know they used their practice last night to warm up alternate player Thomas Lövel, so they probably wouldn't be able to match the stones. So maybe a bit less intelligence on the stones than usual. Now this game against Sweden. Yeah, Kristoffer Sva is known to play the high hard ones, but can play a centre guard as well. The big number 2.
Yeah, now Sweden deciding to take the guards off.
This time he's going to put a bit more weight on the shot, try and come around the centre guard. He just played. So calling this one at the back of the house. Maybe he just put a bit too much weight on it. It's not too bad there. Gonna check over to sheet A. Scotland and Tom Brewster here in picture, throwing their last stone of the 6th end. Leading the game 3 shots to 2. Looking to score a couple maybe, if you can push this red one far enough. Can't quite make that, but scores 1. Looks to be content with that score. 4 shots to 2 for Scotland. Maybe struggling on time.
Slå greit for å holde blanken I livet. Jeg ikke fremmed for kjappen her. Det mer forsen ved å kjappe? Enten kjappe eller gard. Jeg liker ikke en til inn. Enten kjapp eller rulles opp av, ja.
Torge Nergard for Norway. They trail Sweden 5-4. Hits, doesn't make it in the corner. Germany, France over on sheet B. And this looks like an open hit for 4 for Thomas Dufour. So, usual skip, Tony Anjou boost on the bench. But it's actually just a draw. Have they done enough? And all that panic for nothing, really. A big 4 for France. They now lead 7-6.
Sebastian Kraut with a little hit and roll, maybe just a bit tight there.
Yeah, sweeping was called on pretty much as soon as you let it go.
Oh, maybe he overswept it. Just here, Nicholas Edin apologising to his third player. Now the birthday boy. He's looking to play his second stone. Now the 7th end. Wouldn't be too bad for Norway to force Sweden here. I think the plan very well could be to force them. Take 2 in the 8th. It's tied up. Force Sweden again in the 9th. Come back with hammer. 1 down.
Yeah, tactically both these teams are pretty good. It's just knowing when to take a step back and blank the end. It's at what point do you throw all your money in the pot and go for it, or do you throw your cards down and wait for another day?
Yeah, I don't think Sweden would mind blanking this end. It's either a blank or a score 2. Certainly wouldn't like to be forced here. But I think that might just happen if Norway can keep this going.
Rullen jo utrolig fin nå, men samtidig hvis den kutter litt mye rulle ut jo heller ikke, det jo I hvert fall ikke noen option. Nå ser det veldig mye bedre å kjappe, tenker jeg.
So a good chance for Thomas Olsrud.
Vekk! Andre vei! Andre vei!
Seemed to set that back quite a bit.
That's what he didn't want. Wouldn't mind the roll either way. Just nose hit. Not the best option. Saint Michel for Switzerland, playing the upweight. the last stone of the 7th end.
Yeah, he's trailing by a few, and single is all he got there.
He isn't left with too many chances to score big here, Sven Michel. I think his whole team just needs to get their act together if they want that spot in the tiebreakers. So Nicholas Edin here trying to make that shot. You couldn't get from the Norwegian skip Thomas Ulsrud. The hit and roll in behind the guards. Is this a tricky spot or what? Just can't seem to make that roll. No, I don't think they might. I think they might just go for the nose hit here or roll to the left. If they roll in underneath the corner guard, you might just leave Nicholas Edin a double and blank. Most important thing here is just to lie to for Sweden. I'll be pretty happy with that. Just lie to here. Make sure to clean it, boys. No problems. And Nicholas Edin is left with the nose hit to score one.
Start. Ren. Ren. Det är lite lösare. Ren hela vägen. Japp. Kör. Japp. Hårt. Hårt.
A bit of a panic, but pretty safe there from the Swedish skip. Sweden scores one. Still ahead now with 6 shots to 4 after 7 ends.
Yeah, Norway will be pretty happy that they've got themselves back into the game. Although they trail, it's not all too bad. So we're bringing you coverage of the Gruyère European Curling Championships 2012 from Karlstad, Sweden. And that's what they're playing for, that trophy, as some of the Turkish men are in watching the A division here.
Seems to bring a lot of enthusiasm to Karlstad here this week. One of the newer nations of curling.
Og køle hvis vi kan, så litt på slutten igjen. Ja.
So this is going to be a pretty normal setup for the end. As you take a look at the leads numbers. Bob Pettersson has played 100% on hits, but I believe he's only had the one, so
Den är där eller längre. Sitt in om det går. Den är nog in. Sitta.
Couldn't quite stop short of the rings there. And now Van Pettersson with another hit here. Really just a soft weight. Looking to roll it. In behind the corner guard. Just seemed a bit soft there from the start, but does push these yellows to the back. So not too bad there.
Yeah, it's actually quite a good shot, pushing it to the back of the four and removing one of them. So just peeling the guard this time. But they're not happy with just the one. They picked the two. So a great shot. Fredrik Lindberg. The firepower at the front end of this team is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what I like to see from him. It's the kind of shots I saw him play over and over again back in Aberdeen, as I mentioned, which I think was probably one of his best weeks. Wasn't any stopping him, and he's played a good game today.
I'm sure Thomas Olswood was a bit deflated after that one.
80% for Lundberg. Pretty decent, but this time very close to playing the nose hit. Just rolls out of play. That's going to be another 100% for Lundberg. Skip Thomas Ulsrud just asking his team if there's any use in putting up the corner guards. Seems like they've elected to put up another two or so before they might think to make a play into the house. Maybe freeze the yellow one.
Yeah, I think you've got to attempt to try and make a play for your two.
Here we'll certainly not see Sebastian Kripp miss too many peels either, though. Yeah, we're looking at the freeze here, but just pulling up short. It's a good call to make that stop as a guard. It was a bit tight on line as well, so just left it. And you see that his numbers aren't really up to scratch. 67%. He can improve those stats with a nice freeze attempt here.
Respect. Fin linje på den her. Linja er bra. Linja er fin. Strøken linje. Litt vid om noe. Litt vid om noe. Jo, nei, linja er ganske strøken, altså. Hvis du bare limer den på. Tåler ikke bounce. Tåler ikke bounce. Jo da, vi har det. Ja, det var ikke langt unna linje, det der.
Nice attempt there from Torga.
Yeah,
but it does leave a slight angle, and this guy can throw the bullets. And even if you made this perfectly, you've got to think Nicholas Edin would be able to pick it.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet you £10 that he's going to make it.
And does remove everything.
Yeah, not sure where we're going to put this one. Pretty sure Nicholas is going to be able to get to it. Might have to put this one on the other sheet to have a chance. And even then, I think you might see Nicholas being able to skip over with his enormous weight.
You see Thomas Olsrud 72 to Edin's 85.
Yeah, the Norway back end hasn't played too well yet. Still a couple of ends to go though. Looking like a blank end here. So might just have to try and score 2 in the 9th end. So it doesn't force Norway to make that pick. Thomas Olsrud is just going to throw this one through. Last stone of the 8th end.
Spot on.
And it's a blank one. And I think Sweden will be the happier of the two sides.
Det er problemet.
So into the 9th. Norway trail 6-4.
Desperate time. Desperate needs. Jeg har ikke noe... Ja.
So how do you expect Norway to get back into this? Will they really go all out here in the 9th, or if they don't think they'll be getting their 2, will they try and blank and take their 2 and 10?
Yeah, I think so. Scoring 1 here isn't an option. It's got to be a 2 or a blank, really. The only thing they can do is to hope for a mistake and play all their shots. Just needs to play a good end here. Only really needs that one miss from the Swedes to set up the end for them. That's one of the younger fans, and maybe a future star in the curling world, who knows. It's one of the good things about curling, isn't it? The age gap. You could be 12 years old playing a 80-year-old man, and then maybe enjoying a pint afterwards. Maybe maybe not if you're 12. But certainly I've seen the sports good way to bring all different ages together.
Yeah, certainly age really isn't a factor in the sort of club scenes around each country. Experience does count for a lot, though, I think. Scenarios, tactically, some of these young guys can really throw a big weight, which maybe isn't available to some other players.
Yeah, you saw the World Championships last year. It was the Canadian Glenn Howard to win it. He's 50 years old. But again, he's the skip of the team, so you know, it doesn't have to sweep as much as some of the other players. So I think the combination you've seen within a lot of teams as the back end would maybe be a bit older and have a bit more experience. That's certainly the case for the Norwegian team here. Torgeir Nergård and Thomas Ulstrud has played together for, I don't know, 30 years or so, 20 years at least. And Håvard and Kristoffer as it's the younger combo, the younger duo. And they're also the ones doing the most sweeping.
Okay.
So decision time for Nicholas Edin. Does he take the corner guard off or the one in the house? I think you've got to go for the corner.
He's going to go for both.
Well, we've seen in the previous end that Fredrik Lindberg managed to peel both guards.
Close enough, just doesn't curl quite enough on him. Does the most important thing, however, and that's to peel off that corner guard.
Gjerne på linje, hold den ute der. Ligger bra nå, ligger bra. Krysse senter. Ligger bra. Ja. Rent. Gjerne på to, altså. Ligger bra. Rent. Bra svar. Nei, jeg hadde jo håpet på Håvard sin at vi skulle...
So important you make sure you roll the shooter with this one. Don't want to jam this or nose this.
Is this something we might see for a couple of stones now? Just a centre guard and then the peel by Sweden?
Yeah, certainly.
Doesn't have quite the same line here. Oh, just really finished at the end there, actually.
They are a bit closer together, so might be able to spray them. But electing not to play that, just play the single takeout. So Torga, I think we'll throw a centre guard with this one. And probably the next one if they get the chance.
That's a slight mistake there by the third, Torga. Doesn't quite get the line, and with that guard being so long, so high, I might just tempt Nicholas Edin to come at it. But no, doesn't want to play around too much here. Maybe he's just happy with giving away 2 here. B 6-0 and have the last on. So maybe just playing the scoreboard here, Nicholas Edin.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, what's happened here? Oh no. Big miss from Sebastian Kraut. Right, let's hope Irish Nithal can do a bit better than we just saw from the Swedish third, last stone of the 8th end. In turn draw.
D-line, whoa, D.
Seems like the sweepers have this under control. And you can see that the Czech Republic is line 1 at the moment. And there we have 2. So it's going to be a 6-5 lead for the Czech Republic in a very important game against Denmark. So back to our game, we just saw Sebastian Kraut fresh that centre guard peel, just overthrew it. And now Norway line 2. And behind the centre guard, big problems for Sweden. Nicholas Edin electing to do the safest thing, picking off the centre guard. And yet he's left with a heap of trouble.
Eller så spelar vi den nu, hoppas han blir lite bra, spelar en frysning sen mot den på någon hand. Ja, men då får han bara få alternativ så krymper man bort för det kanske är det bästa.
And you see, probably only going to see half stone of that red, and he's going to try and peel it out.
This is Eva Lund, the coach for Nicholas Edin's team. Not looking too happy here. Maybe a bit concerned. This is a pretty difficult shot for Nicholas Edin. Needs to pick out the shot zone. Just enough.
Hvor stuper inn mest den veien her? Hæ? Vi klarer å få shotten oppe her da. Ja, det er det beste. Ja, det er det beste. Så drar han rundt, og så... Ja, men med en gang hvis vi legger noe...
So What do you do here, Sander? Do you go in behind to back a four, or do you just go in on top of this?
They're actually looking at the draw to the face of their own red and try and sit two that way. Put the pressure on Nicholas Edin. That's a pretty cheeky call.
10% her.
Would that be a nutty call to come on top of your own? Lie two there.
You don't make it perfect. You'd leave Nicholas Edin a fly and maybe remove both of them. I think you've got to go around to the button more.
It might not be too easy to hide your stone behind that top red as either. So that's certainly the way to score three. It's got to come on top of your own. Call for a little tea meeting here.
Ja, han runder det.
Ja, runder det. Det greit. Den sjansen jeg villig til å ta. Han runder det.
Så.
Jeg runder det. Ja, det jeg mener. Ja, hvis vi noen gang stopper sånn, da. Ja. Så går han, da runder han rundt, og så får vi tappe den ut.
Så vi nødt til å tappe den ut.
Ja, folk tappe den, for det er for lett. Ja. Han kan dra helt bak i... Stoppe her. Hvis vi ligger litt skratt da, så... Jeg tror vi prøver å gjemme dem rundt fint. Jeg liker også da. Så må han fryse, håper at han kysser ut, eller kysser de da. Ja, han må enten fryse, hvis man går mykt ut til Ben.
Nei, men vi kommer ikke til å få hele jenta der, men vi må foran 10 også, da. Men bestem oss, da.
Du trenger rundt hele den, for nå er det gjemt bak den. Du kan dra hit.
Ok.
Det var høyt, da. Ja. Hvilken vei køler mest? Hvor er det mest innerst? Jeg tror det er best her, ja.
Ja. Isa. Ja, noe sånt nå. Sneppe mindre, kanskje.
I think they elected to play one of the safer calls here. That's the out-turn draw. They're trying to hide it.
80.
Probably would like to keep it a bit high, just maybe nibble the forefoot. If you've gone too deep, you'll see Nicholas play the freeze and might be very difficult to score two. So. Even if you just half checked here, it'll be pretty good. Just top of the 8 foot maybe here. Out-turn draw. Important shot. Can't show the inside of this. Might leave Nicholas Edin a hit and roll. Starting to get a bit snug. And it's gonna crash on the top red. Miscommunication there. Kind of just blaming each other here. That's not good.
Yeah, Nicholas Edin could possibly play a hit and roll in behind himself. So I'm sure he's feeling pretty lucky right now, Nicholas Edin.
Yeah, could have been faced with a much more difficult shot. We're so close to making it, just ticked off the top red. Now Nicholas is going to pick off. Redstone just played by Thomas Ulsrud. And he'll do just that. Norway with the open draw to score two.
All there, bare rent. Sneppe tightere linje om noe. Gjennomfør, slipper mer på den, han sitter. mye videre nå når det har gått hele tiden. Nå ser den...
Good draw by the Norwegian skip.
Okay.
They'll score 2 after that very dramatic end. Not many stones in play, but there was certainly lots of drama at the end. And there's the alternate player, Thomas Løvold, choosing to sit up in the stands with some of the other staff, leaving coach Ole Ingvaldsen by himself on the coach's bench.
So 10th end of this final round robin game.
Linja bra for å komme litt over. Gjerne bytte. Bytte ut så kan. Ok, dra den godt da, senter nå. Kom igjen da! Han setter det, holder. Litt til. Holder. Bra.
So this might just be a very normal 10th end. What we would see is Norway putting up 2 center guards. But meanwhile, this player here, Vector Shell, is going to play the tick shot. One of his specialities. I saw him play these so many times last year in Moscow for the European Championships. But this time, isn't quite going to make it. He's actually going to push the red stone just through the rings, but enough to still be in place. So they're not going to move that red stone back. And Norway's going to try and put up another centre guard in behind the yellow. Now, would you think Victor Shell's going to pull a hit on his own yellow?
That's exactly probably what he's going to do. So even though it does leave a centre guard, I don't think they'll be too worried about it.
No, it certainly does help things. You're not allowed to remove any of your opponent's stones from play until the 5th end. No, 5th stone of every end. But you are allowed to remove your own. So I think we'll see Sweden just calling the peel on the yellow here. Not too often we see Victor Shell play the peel, but doesn't seem to have any problems with it.
So, Christopher SWE, I think going to draw in with this one, I think, rather than throw the guard.
Yeah, it looks like it. I think that centre guard's just too much halfway behind the hall line in the house. It's going to be hard to put up another centre guard without leaving a double. So coming into the house, top of 4. And we see hands being shaken between Russia and Switzerland, and that would mean that Switzerland is out with that loss. No tiebreaker spot for them, and no tiebreaker spot for the Russians, but they've had a good run this week, just moving up from the B group last year. So all that money being pumped into the Russian curling has certainly helped as they work towards the 2014 Olympics in Sochi in Russia.
Linja bra, hold I gang. 2-3. Ok, Bare rent. Linja gul, hvis den dør. Litt på overkjørt. Hold rent, i hvert fall, så vi ikke skjærer.
That's a bit too close to the rings, and it did kind of overcurl a little bit, so there's an angle for Fredrik Lindberg. So looking to maybe run this one back and remove both reds. Just kind of an in-out movement from Fredrik, so doesn't quite make it. Torgeir Nergård is asked to play another centre guard. Hasn't had the best of games yet, but can help out his team with a couple of nice shots here. And the 10th end.
Vente litt på linja på den her. Vente litt på linja. Vi skal bite senter. Rent. Linja kommer seg. Bare dø, bare dø. Bare dø, bare dø. Bra.
So nice positioning. Hungary, Scotland. Scotland leading 6-3. And final stone of the 9th end over there in sheet A. Supers having to work this one really hard. And have they done enough? And it is just the single. So all that effort was worth it.
Fin linje. Sneppe tightere om noe. Henger videre. Henger litt. Vi må gå på slutten på den her. Vi må gå opp til senter. Kom igjen! Hardt! Vi må opp til senter! Kom igjen da! Hardt! Kom igjen! Kom igjen!
Yeah, nice weight control. Just wanted to curl a fraction more maybe, but as we take a look at it, looks pretty decent. But Nicholas Sedin just gonna take it off and looking to maybe move the yellow corner guard as well, just opening the out turn draw. Be nice to have 2 ways into the forefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't quite make contact, but again, does the main thing. So I think the Norwegians might be looking to place this one in a spot where Nicholas can't make that double. Not too much time left on the clock for the Norwegians, but 2 minutes and 50 seconds should be more than enough to throw 2 stones.
Snappe mer. Vent litt, da. Vent litt da, gutter. Stopp til senter. Mer enn lang nok.
Svan på slutten.
Gå nå, da.
Nei, jeg gidder ikke. Helt opp til senter.
Linja er bra.
Senter, ja.
So the guard being placed
Hold it.
onto the centre line. That's pretty good there. But what it does do means Nicholas Sedin might be able to play the rip on the centre guard off the back of the yellow and down into the house some way maybe.
Det sämsta blir om du träffar för tjockt och bara trycker hit. Eller alltså sämsta.
Det finns inte där ändå, det spelar ingen större roll. Det är perfekt, då får vi dra antingen den eller skjuta ändå. Jag tror inte gör någon skillnad.
Och så är det, husk på att det finns den där.
Bara inte tjappa. Det tar tjockt så har vi chans att dubbla också.
Nej men dra bort.
Jag försöker riva med oss kåren. Sexan. 60%.
Halv då.
Ja.
So Nicholas Sedin trying to peel the guard and get the back of the corner guard.
Doesn't quite get any movement on the corner guard, and you'll see the Norwegians just call a timeout.
Det som vi prater om at samme linje, men tightere. Hvis vi klarer å få den helt dit, så han må dra innan, vie innan.
The clock will continue to run,
Hvis den her, så har han et fint alt han hørt.
they do have some stoppage here as their coach Ole Ingvaldsen makes it down to the ace. So when Ole finally comes out, the clock will continue to run.
Yeah, it's something that I'm certainly not in favour of, Sander. You've got 4 guys out on the ice. You don't really need another person's input. I think you should be able to come to a decision between yourselves.
I think they might just be calling the timeout here to get some extra time.
Det jeg tenker da at pass på tida litt nå, kjapt. Jeg tenker at selv om den garden der, eller der, hvis du har gått i garden, så kommer du garantert til å gå i den nå, så den egentlig ikke i veien for dragninga. Skjønner du hva jeg mener? Så det ett fett. Om den garden ligger der eller der, hvis du går i den, da skjapper du på det, eller da... Ja, det må du avgjøre underveis, da. Det beste vi skal bite senterlinjen.
Alexander will confirm to me. I think they're saying they don't want to put it too tight because Nicholas will just play the run back and they won't have anything to hide behind. The best they could hide was maybe an 8-foot stone rather than a 4-foot stone, is that correct?
Vi drar en tight guard. Hvis han går i den garden, det ikke på dragninga, så den ikke det. Da går du garantert i den bak uansett. Ja, samme sted. Viktigste hvor vi plasserer den, at akkurat når den dør, skal han bite senter. Ja, selvfølgelig. Samme fart, og så venter dere med å gå litt på slutten, gutter. Tar dere den på slutten?
Yeah, just trying to listen in there. They're looking for this one to be quite tight, yes, despite the center line.
Vente litt.
Do you expect Nicholas to play the double for a blank if he has a chance, rather than a difficult draw to win it?
Rent på overkant! Rent og dø!
I think he'll play the draw if need be. But has this one overcurled?
Yeah,
I think it has.
Yeah, no, I think you'll see Nicholas play the tap back here, just a soft weight hack maybe. So not really able to make that shot count, Thomas Ursu, and I think you'd expect Nicholas to make this one to win in here.
Yeah, just looking at the clock, 14 minutes Sweden have, so a big difference in time used.
Yeah, just enough time to go for a wee nap before playing this last one. So Nicholas Edin, last stone of the 10th end. Certainly the last stone of the game. Looking to win it right here with a soft tap back. Needs to push this red one at least a good 4 feet. Looking pretty good so far. And he's going to make it. Sweden wins here. 7 shots to 6. What a game, Kenny.
Yeah, there was a few mistakes during the conclusion of that. Norway really did hang in there. And there you see Eva Lund. I'm sure she'll be pretty happy with the young guy's performance in that one. I'm a little surprised that that went on so long, but tactically Norwegians called a pretty good game, which resulted in the game going the full 10 ends. And you see Nicholas really happy. They will top the round robin group, and they will also get Hammer in the page 1-2 playoff. So we're going to try and bring you some coverage of Germany-France in what is a high-scoring game. 10-9 in the 10th end. Certainly the highest-scoring game I've seen this week. Sweden running out eventual winners, 7-6. And here is Daniel Hellberg for Germany, trying to move things around. Leaves Germany sitting 1, possibly 2. And you see the overhead, yep, it's just a single. But it's pretty relatively short double through the gap. But peeled the corner off. A little surprised if that was the call. So Germany, I think, are they throwing the draw around the corner to try and corner freeze the yellow in behind. So Messensell for Germany. Germany only with the single win. And that one just over curled. So over in Sheet A, Scotland do pick up another win, 6-5 over Hungary. controlled most of the game there. Scotland will be disappointed not to add to their medals that they picked up at the World Championships. Here you see a lot of high scores on the board there. A 4 and 6, a 3 and 7. And obviously these teams really going aggressively. You see there's a lot of stones in play. That's probably why there's been a lot of high scoring ends.
Ligne parfaite. Ligne parfaite. Alors à fond. Il faut y aller à fond. À fond.
And nice tap from Lionel Rowe to bump that one into the button.
So, Bier drauf.
So Germany looking to try and come through the tight gap. And disaster. Spinning another one in. And Skip Andy Lang is behind the sheet and he's not impressed with that one. So France will probably just look to block the gap. They have 2 in the forefoot. I think you block the gap with the first one and maybe play the takeout with the second. Over on sheet E, it is Uri Schnittl picking up the win and progressing to the 1-2 page playoff against Nicolas Sudin. They win 7-6. So just looking to block the gap. Won't want to be too close. This one probably over curling. It might be there just at battering weight to play a double and move things back at the forefoot.
Même s'il l'a fait, on a encore le placement au centre. Okay, habe ich aber auch noch nicht das Auto da. Dann macht er zu, dann komme ich auch fast nicht mehr hin. Ich meine, ihr müsst jetzt den und daher. Und dass ich dann irgendwie oder so und da rollen. Genau, dass ich dann den habe und den habe. Wobei der auch reicht.
I think the call would be here to just come down and tap the 2 yellows back at battering weight.
Okay. Ja, die Länge, Hackweight brauche ich. Dass ich den bisher schiebe. Eine Hackweight. Halb treffen und mir rechts rüberlaufen. Gut. Dadurch den vorderen mit den Rollen ab. Jetzt mit Hackweight. Hackweight.
Yes, I think that's what they're going to call. They're going to call the backring weight, maybe to hack. So, Andy or Andreas Lang. Face of concentration now. Look at the swing on this one. Really is cutting away and crashes the guard. So if you're France, do you play the takeout on the red or do you block the gap? I think the blocking the gap, same shot again, is the call, because the yellow is always going to spring across onto the other red, and to give up a 2 really isn't on.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Germany has a shot to score 2 as it's lying now, actually. Might be. That yellow one squeeze. Out. Got to say, it's not looking good for the Germans here. So just Thomas Dufour looking to put up the centre guard. Don't want to be heavy here and come down and change the angles up. But I don't think that's going to happen.
This one does need to sit down. And it's going to be difficult for Germany to even pick up the single now.
Yeah, I'm looking, Kenny. I just can't find any solutions.
Is he just trying to play the in-turn draw? I think that's what he's trying to go for.
Yeah, maybe sliding off his own red here on the backring weight or so. Last on the 10th end, Andy Lang. Looking for the extra end here with a score of 1.
And it's just not going to curl enough. So it will be a score of 2 to France and a 12-9 game.
Yeah, some score there, Kenny. Usually don't see that many points on the scoreboard.
No, that's something you don't see very often. But that concludes the men's side of the round robin, and it will be Sweden who top the table with 8-1 record, and it'll be Iri Schnittel who is standing alone in second place on 7-2. Scorecard filled in by Thomas Dufour. So from us here this evening in Karlstad, Sweden, that's it. So thanks for watching.